You were never meant to struggle against the universe. You were meant to remember it moves through you. The signs you've been seeing, the pauses, the delays, the strange stillness, aren't punishments, they're invitations. Something inside you already knows. When you stop pushing, the current carries you. Right now you stand at the threshold between forcing and allowing, between control and creation, and this message has found you because your frequency is ready to awaken. The truth is simple but revolutionary. When you stop trying to move reality, reality starts moving for you. You've been told your whole life that control equals safety, that if you can just think harder, plan better, and push longer, you'll finally make reality obey you. And so you tighten your grip on everything, your goals, your identity, even your own emotions, because deep down you fear that if you ever stop holding on, everything you've built will slip away. But the universe doesn't speak the language of force, it listens to frequency, and frequency cannot be faked. When you force, you are declaring that you do not trust the natural flow of your own creation. You are announcing through vibration that you and life are separate, that you must make the river flow, rather than realizing it was always flowing through you. Every time you push against what is, every time you try to manipulate timing or outcomes, you send a message into the quantum field that says, "I don't believe I'm supported." And so the field mirrors that belief perfectly. It delays, it distorts, it echoes the very tension you broadcast. It's not punishment, it's precision. Reality is exact, a mirror so flawless it cannot lie to you. If you radiate strain, it will show you more situations that strain you. If you radiate stillness, it will organize itself to match your calm. What you experience is not random chance, it's resonance. But here's the paradox most people miss. Effort feels like power, yet it's often the evidence of disconnection. When you are truly aligned, action happens through you, not from you. The right words, the right timing, the right coincidences, they all unfold with the same grace as breath. You don't have to remember to breathe, the body already knows. You don't have to remind the stars to rise, the cosmos already knows. The same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies is trying to guide your life, but it can only move freely when you stop trying to steer. There is a moment, subtle and sacred, when you realize that what you've been chasing has been trying to reach you all along, but your grasping kept it at a distance, because everything you desire lives in a higher frequency than the one you're forcing from. You cannot reach peace through tension. You cannot summon flow through friction. You must soften first. And softening can feel terrifying at first, can't it? Because the mind has been trained to equate stillness with loss, as if letting go means surrendering control to chaos. But what if the opposite is true? What if the chaos only appears when you resist what already wants to align? The moment you stop forcing, you return to coherence, the natural rhythm of the field that has been waiting for your permission to work in harmony with you. So breathe. For just a moment, let everything be exactly as it is. Feel the ache, the uncertainty, the unfinishedness, and do not rush to fix it, because the need to fix is the vibration of fear, and fear collapses your field into limitation. But acceptance expands it. Acceptance is not resignation, it is resonance with what's real. And in that resonance, miracles begin to move. When you stop forcing, you create space for intelligence to flow. The answers that felt hidden begin to whisper through intuition. The doors that were sealed start to unfasten in silence. You realize the universe was never ignoring you. It was simply waiting for you to stop shouting long enough to hear its response. This is the beginning of true power, not the kind that dominates or demands, but the kind that hums quietly beneath existence. It's the power that turns galaxies without strain, that grows forests without effort, that breathes worlds into being through stillness. That same force lives within you, waiting for recognition. When you stop forcing reality, you stop separating yourself from the very source that creates it. So the question is no longer, how do I make this happen? But rather, how can I let what's already happening unfold through me? In that question, in that surrender, you stop being the struggler and start being the current itself. And the moment you remember that, everything begins to change. There is a silence beneath everything you've ever done, a quiet hum that has been there since before you were born. You've felt it in rare moments, standing under the night sky, sitting in stillness after a storm, watching the world slow down for no reason at all. That silence is not empty. It is the womb of everything that exists. It is the space from which reality breathes itself into being, and when you finally stop trying to force life into motion, you begin to feel that silence moving inside you, the pulse beneath thought, the rhythm beneath doing. That is the quantum still point. In that space, nothing appears to happen, yet everything is rearranging itself. The mind doesn't understand this kind of movement because it cannot measure it. The ego has been trained to worship motion, to equate value with visible progress. But the universe doesn't evolve through noise. It evolves through coherence. Every birth, every explosion, every revelation first passes through stillness. The seed does not struggle to grow, it dissolves into darkness and allows light to find it. You are no different. When you allow yourself to stop, to sit in the strange weightlessness of doing nothing, something magnificent begins to occur. Your scattered timelines start to collapse into one, the versions of you that are pulling in different directions. The one who fears, the one who hopes, the one who doubts, begin to merge. The noise starts to quiet. The fragments begin to unify, and in that union your energy gains density. It becomes organized. The field around you starts to respond differently because you are no longer broadcasting confusion. You are emitting coherence. The paradox is that doing nothing feels unnatural at first because you've been addicted to interference. You've been taught that movement equals safety, that waiting means failure. But the still point is not stagnation. It's a recalibration of energy. It's the universe gathering momentum in silence, the way the ocean withdraws before the next great wave. If you resist that pull, you miss the rhythm. If you surrender to it, you ride the tide effortlessly. It is in that stillness that inspiration is born, not the kind of inspiration that comes from chasing outcomes, but the kind that arrives like a whisper, fully formed, already whole. You'll start to notice this. When you rest in the still point, you don't need to think your way to answers. They simply appear. The right person messages you. The perfect idea emerges mid-breath. A door you thought was closed opens without effort. It feels like magic, but it's just physics. Quantum coherence responding to a settled signal. Stillness is not absence, it is alignment. It is the moment when your inner world stops contradicting itself. The fear that says, "I must make it happen," quiets long enough for the truth to surface. It was always happening. You were simply too loud to hear it. And the more you lean into that silence, the more the world around you starts to mirror its rhythm. People will tell you that you seem calmer, more magnetic, more present. They won't know why, but your field will, because the field recognizes peace as power. It's a strange kind of power, invisible, effortless, and absolute. The kind that doesn't demand, doesn't chase, doesn't prove. The kind that bends reality gently by its very presence. When you reach the still point, your vibration becomes a command without words. The universe reads it instantly. "I am ready," and it begins to rearrange itself to meet you there. So let yourself stop. Let the noise collapse. Let your breath return to its natural rhythm. Let the silence become a presence rather than an absence. In that space, you will realize that you never needed to make life happen. You only needed to stop interrupting it. The still point has always been here, quietly waiting for you to remember that creation doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being less. And in the moment you truly understand that, everything you thought you had to chase begins to unfold effortlessly in front of you. Boredom is one of the most misunderstood states in existence. You've been taught to fear it, to run from it, to fill it with noise and motion and distraction. But boredom is not emptiness, it is sacred space. It's the clearing that appears when the old frequency has run its course and the new one has not yet arrived. It's the moment between breaths where identity dissolves, where your spirit is whispering, "Wait, something new is coming through you." Most people never allow that pause to last long enough to hear what it's saying. They rush to fill it, terrified of the stillness that reveals how much of their movement has been avoidance. When you reach boredom, you are standing in the doorway of transformation. It's not that nothing is happening. It's that everything is happening beneath the surface, reorganizing in ways your conscious mind cannot yet track. The old self has exhausted its momentum. The patterns, desires, and definitions that used to fuel you have lost their charge. You've outgrown the vibration that once held you together, and your nervous system doesn't yet know how to rest inside the unknown. So it calls the silence boredom, and the ego panics. It tries to resurrect old excitements, old battles, anything to avoid meeting the void. But the void is not the enemy. The void is God, undressed. If you can sit with boredom, really sit with it, it begins to reveal its true nature. You'll start to feel something beneath the dullness, a soft expansion, a widening presence, like the field itself is breathing through you. That heaviness you feel is not lifelessness, it's density, the gravity of new creation forming. You're being pulled inward, into deeper alignment, and the mind, desperate for stimulation, cannot follow you there. It calls it useless, lazy, empty, but the deeper intelligence in you knows, this is gestation. This is how new realities are born. It's in this space that time bends differently, moments stretch, thoughts lose their edge. You start to feel detached from the rhythm of the world, as if you're floating between versions of yourself. And that's exactly what's happening. You are between worlds, the one that no longer fits, and the one not yet revealed. The boredom is the bridge. The longer you allow it without trying to fix it, the more stable that bridge becomes, until suddenly, almost imperceptibly, something clicks. A new sense of direction appears, not from effort, but from clarity that emerged naturally in the silence. This is why the universe hides its greatest upgrades inside boredom, because only the version of you that can rest without craving stimulation is ready to handle higher alignment. The frantic self, the one addicted to movement, cannot access new frequencies. It keeps replicating the old. Boredom strips that away. It removes the illusions you've built around purpose and productivity and makes you face the raw truth. You are not what you do. You are what remains when doing stops. And when you meet that truth fully, something miraculous happens. Peace stops feeling like emptiness and starts feeling like home. Soon, the boredom that once felt unbearable begins to feel fertile. You start to sense new impulses rising, gentle, authentic, unforced. You begin to move again, but this time it's different. The movement doesn't come from trying to escape the silence. It comes from the silence itself choosing to move through you. Ideas flow without pressure. Conversations align without effort. You no longer act to fill space. You act because space itself has asked you to. That is the moment you realize that boredom was never a void. It was a frequency reset. So the next time you feel that strange emptiness, that restlessness that whispers, nothing's happening, remember something vast is happening. The field is rearranging. The energy is refining. The next timeline is forming in absolute precision. Your only task is to allow the pause, to sit in the holy boredom, until it reveals the new world that has been waiting behind it. Because the truth is, boredom isn't the absence of life, it's the silence before rebirth. Surrender is one of the most powerful and misunderstood movements of consciousness. The world has taught you that surrender means weakness, that to let go is to lose, to release control is to risk everything you've built. But the truth is far older and far quieter than that. Surrender is not the collapse of power, it is the return of power to its source. It is what happens when your will stops struggling against the current of divine intelligence and begins to flow with it. You are not giving up, you are giving over to something infinitely wiser than the small self that keeps trying to hold the steering wheel. When you begin to surrender, the body often trembles at first. It's the nervous system's way of mourning the illusion of control. You might feel naked, unanchored, exposed, but slowly something else begins to arise underneath that fear. A deep exhale, a quiet trust that whispers, I don't have to make this work. Life already knows how. That realization is the soft click of alignment, the moment your inner resistance loosens and the field finally has room to move. You see, surrender is not passive. It is magnetic. It does not mean I will do nothing. It means I will no longer do from fear. It is an energetic posture. an openness that says to the universe, I trust your timing more than I trust my tension. And in that trust, your entire frequency shifts. The tightness in your chest that once signaled lack begins to open. The signals of desperation that once distorted your manifestations begin to fade. You start broadcasting coherence, and coherence is irresistible to the quantum field. The paradox is that the moment you surrender, you often feel like nothing is happening. Yet everything is. The energy that was once trapped in resistance is now free to create. Life begins to reorganize around your stillness. People who once mirrored your chaos begin to drift away, replaced by those who move in harmony with your new calm. Situations that seemed stuck start to unravel in silence. You'll find yourself in moments where things just click, without planning, without effort. And you'll know it's not coincidence. It's the consequence of surrender. There's a rhythm that begins to return to your existence. It's not the rhythm of rushing or chasing. It's the pulse of attunement, the natural timing that happens when your inner world stops fighting the tempo of the universe. You begin to notice how even your breath is guided, how even your pauses are perfect. You realize that the same intelligence that keeps the stars suspended in their courses is the one orchestrating your path, and your task is not to control it. It's to remain open enough to feel where it wants to take you next. Surrender feels paradoxical because it looks like letting go of control, but in truth, it is the only way to access true influence. Control operates from fear of what might happen. Surrender operates from trust in what is already unfolding. One shrinks your field, the other expands it. And when you expand, the world expands with you. Your frequency becomes an invitation instead of a demand, a melody instead of a command. Reality bends more easily to those who are not trying to bend it. This is why surrender feels like falling at first, but flying soon after. When you release the strain, gravity itself begins to change. You find that life supports you in ways it never could when you were tightening every thread. Opportunities find you. Synchronicities multiply. Peace becomes your baseline. You realize you never needed to chase alignment. It was chasing you all along, waiting for you to be still enough to receive it. So let surrender happen to you. Let yourself be carried. When you feel the urge to force, remember, what is meant for you cannot be lost, and what is not meant for you will not stay, no matter how hard you grip. Trust the intelligence that moves galaxies and grows forests and breathes through your lungs right now. That intelligence has not forgotten you. It's only waiting for you to stop interrupting its flow. Surrender is not the end of your power. It is the beginning of it. When you begin to surrender, a strange quiet fills your life. It's not silence as absence. It's silence as rearrangement. It feels as if the world slows down, as if time exhales, and the pieces that once felt scattered begin, almost imperceptibly, to shift. You start to sense it before you see it, the subtle alignment, the soft magnetism, the effortless timing. You'll notice people crossing your path who carry answers you didn't even know you were seeking, the conversation that seems random, the email that arrives at the perfect moment, the idea that blooms in the space you once called stillness. Reality is not responding to your words anymore, it's responding to your frequency. When you stop forcing, you create room for the field to breathe. That breathing is what reorders everything around you. It's not that you suddenly manifest from nothing, it's that you stop pushing away what was already moving toward you. The quantum field, that invisible web of intelligence and energy, is precise beyond comprehension. It doesn't rush, it doesn't forget. It simply waits for coherence, for a signal clear enough to follow. When you quiet your mind, your energy stops contradicting itself. You stop sending mixed messages into creation, and suddenly, the path that was hidden begins to illuminate one step at a time. There's an elegance to this unfolding, but it doesn't look like what the world calls progress. On the outside, it may seem like you're doing less, like you've fallen behind the race, but something deeper is happening beneath that surface. Your frequency is rearranging the scaffolding of your timeline. Old structures collapse without effort, and new alignments form where chaos once lived. It's almost as if the universe was waiting for you to stop pulling on the strings so it could weave the pattern properly. Every time you let go, reality reorganizes around your new level of allowance. This is why the calm ones seem to move through life as if the wind itself favors them. It's not luck, it's resonance. Their silence is not emptiness, it's clarity. When you act from that space, your movements are amplified. A single step taken from peace can accomplish more than 1,000 taken from panic. The field responds not to the amount of energy you expend, but to the quality of energy you emit. When your energy becomes coherent, the universe doesn't need your effort to translate your intention. It already understands. And that's the great paradox. When you finally stop trying to fix, to push, to force, everything you once chased begins to move toward you. Not because you manipulated reality, but because you matched it. You became the signal it was always waiting for. In that state, synchronicity becomes your new language. You no longer need to overthink decisions. You feel them. You no longer beg for signs. You live in them. The world begins to shape itself around your inner stillness, because stillness is stability, and stability is magnetic. But understand this, the rearrangement often begins as unraveling. Sometimes life has to clear the clutter before the new structure can emerge. Relationships fade, projects dissolve, opportunities shift direction. All of it orchestrated by the intelligence you invited in when you stopped forcing. It may feel uncertain at first, but uncertainty is not the absence of order, it's the evidence of new order forming. If you can stay calm inside that uncertainty, if you can remain faithful to the invisible alignment taking place, you'll begin to witness miracles disguised as ordinary moments. Reality, it turns out, doesn't need to be commanded. It needs to be witnessed. The more deeply you see it, the more gracefully it moves. You stop trying to control outcomes and start participating in them, like a dancer who realizes the music was never separate from the movement. And then one day, without any announcement, you notice how easily things flow now. The conversations that used to drain you become effortless. The opportunities that once required struggle arrive uninvited. You realize you haven't been manifesting at all. You've been remembering how creation works when you stop standing in its way. So let the silence rearrange you. Let the stillness do its invisible work. Trust the pauses that make no sense yet feel inevitable. Life is not withholding from you, it's aligning for you. Every quiet shift, every delay, every redirection is the universe reshaping itself around your surrendered vibration. And in that sacred rearrangement, you finally understand that doing nothing was never inactivity, it was invitation. The moment you stepped aside, reality stepped forward. And then comes the return. The quiet homecoming after all, the releasing, the stopping, the undoing. It doesn't announce itself with thunder. It arrives like breath returning to lungs you didn't realize were empty. One morning you simply notice that everything feels lighter. The world hasn't changed overnight, but the weight inside you has shifted. What once felt like resistance now feels like rhythm. What once required planning and pressure now unfolds like memory. You wake up and move through your day as if you've already rehearsed every moment, yet nothing feels rehearsed at all. This is flow. Not the adrenaline-fueled rush of trying to stay afloat, but the graceful current that carries you exactly where you're meant to be. Flow is not something you achieve, it's something you remember. It was always there, humming beneath the noise of your effort. You only lost touch with it when you believed you were separate from the current. But the truth is, life has always been moving through you, not against you. Every time you tried to control it, you created turbulence. Every time you allowed it, you became the river itself. And now, in this new awareness, you move differently. You speak slower, but your words land deeper. You take fewer steps, but each one seems to open more doors. You begin to feel what real alignment tastes like: sweet, effortless, inevitable. You start noticing how perfectly timed everything is. The right person appears exactly when you release the need to meet them. The opportunity shows up the moment you stop chasing it. Even your challenges arrive on schedule, no longer as punishment but as precision, each one designed to refine your vibration a little more. The universe isn't testing you, it's tuning you. And now you can hear the melody it's been playing all along. In this flow you realize you were never manifesting anything new. You were remembering what was always meant for you. Every desire that once felt distant turns out to be a memory from the future. a version of you calling yourself home. The timeline was never outside of reach. It was waiting for you to slow down enough to step into it. The moment you stop chasing the wave, you realize you are the tide. The things you used to run toward now circle back, drawn to the coherence of your calm. What once took effort now happens through resonance. What once felt random now feels inevitable, and there's a softness that returns with this knowing. You stop trying to prove yourself to life because you finally understand. You are life proving itself. The same consciousness that spins galaxies and blooms flowers is the same awareness looking out through your eyes. You are not a fragment begging to belong. You are the field experiencing itself as you. When that truth lands fully, even your smallest gestures become sacred. You no longer act to get somewhere. You act because you are somewhere wholly already. And this is where the journey brings you, not to mastery through control, but to mastery through surrender. You become fluent in stillness, fluent in flow, fluent in trust. You stop measuring your worth by what moves quickly and begin valuing the beauty of what moves naturally. The stillness, the boredom, the surrender. All of it was preparing you to live from this place, the place where creation no longer feels like labor, but like remembering the lyrics to a song you've always known. So now, as you stand in this awareness, the invitation is simple. Don't go back to sleep. Don't rush to fill the silence again. Let yourself live from this flow. Speak less from fear, move more from presence, and watch how reality reshapes itself around your peace. You don't have to chase alignment anymore. You are alignment embodied. Trust that the universe already has your address. Every vibration you emit is a return signal, guiding what is yours back to you. Breathe. Feel that quiet rhythm inside your chest. That is the flow. That is life remembering itself through you. Don't fight it. Follow it. Let it move you, guide you, become you. Because the moment you stop forcing and start flowing, you stop living as a seeker and start living as the signal itself. Now go and let everything you do be an echo of that stillness. Speak less, listen deeper, move slower, love wider. You don't need to make the universe notice you. It already has. All it ever needed was your permission to move through you. Freely, finally, completely. That is how everything changes. That is how you become the flow. That is your call now, to stop forcing reality and start allowing it to remember you.